Hi everyone, welcome back to Blueprint DIY. Angelina here again. Today's video is on dealing with miscarriage, fetal demise, and different things like that. And I know a lot of you did not know that this happened to me recently, so that was one reason why I wanted to make this video, was to let you guys know that did happen recently. And my primary reason for making this video is to encourage those who may have gone through this, who are still dealing with this, and even for those of you who see it and God forbid that in the future you go through this, I want to encourage you. And also, this is therapy for me to talk about what I've gone through, and to let you guys know how I am going through it, because I'll say that I am going through it. And I wanted to let you guys know that this, for me, this is from the faith perspective. But I am going to give the tips, give these tips in a way that even if you don't believe in God or anything like that, you can find, I hope, positive inspiration in how to deal with, how to cope with, and how to be victorious in this situation where you have lost your pregnancy, lost your child. First things first, I'll let you guys know what happened. If you've been following my channel for a long time, if you're one of my first subscribers, you'll know that I had a son in 2013, and shortly after he turned a year old, I got pregnant again. And we were really excited because we have, that would have been our fourth, and our first two are really close in age, and the second two would have been really close in age, and we really like how close our first two are. They're best of friends. They're inseparable. Even though they're a boy and a girl, they're inseparable. So we were really excited, to have, a companion for our third child. And so we were preparing everything, and I got to my 16th week, which was right after Thanksgiving of 2014, the year that just passed. I went to the doctor right after the Thanksgiving holiday, and we thought that we were going to find out what, the sex of the baby and everything like that. And the doctor looked, and she did not see a heartbeat. And in fact, she said that the baby had passed away a couple of weeks before I went to that appointment. So, of course, I was very shocked, and, and immediately in disbelief, so it took a second to set in. And, she came back, and, she said, "I'm sorry." And she said she wanted to send me to the ultrasound person to confirm it. And, at that point, I was just like, well, I was just, like, okay, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But I went, of course, called my mom, called my husband, and went over to the ultrasound place, and he confirmed it. And then I had to go back to my doctor and, talk to her about the different procedures that I could have. And then they sent me home. And so the hard thing about fetal demise, you have to go home around your family and your friends, and you have this child inside of you, and it's not living. So you have, a body inside of you, and it's not living. So, that was very, very, very hard. And so for me, and I'll talk about this in the tips, but for me to cope with that, I kind of had to go to my quiet place. And, I didn't talk on the phone. I didn't, there was no social media, nobody on, pretty much on my social media, even to this day that this happened. So, I just really had to go into my quiet place, and, I didn't want people to see me, or I don't know. I don't know. It was just weird, for people to know what happened, and then you're walking around them and that you have, I don't know. I just felt like a walking tomb, for 3 days. So, that was rough. But I, thank God for my husband, for my family, during that process, that they were there. And then I decided, with the doctor and with my husband, to have what they call a D and C-section. And basically that's where they go in, they put you to sleep, and they go in and they, remove the body. I had that procedure done, and the procedure was absolutely painless. After the procedure, it's odd, to me, because before, when I was pregnant, out of all 4 pregnancies, this was the hardest one. I was sick every single day. And, if, like I said, if you've followed me from the beginning, this was a span of time that I wasn't shooting videos. I just didn't have energy to do anything. I actually was throwing up, which I'd never really done that with any of the other pregnancies. And I just felt horrible. And so right when getting closer to going to the doctor on that 16 weeks, I was starting to feel better, which, in hindsight meant that the baby had, passed away. And so, after having the procedure and feeling so healthy, was odd. So, you can see from, and I'll give you guys a marker from the video, that I posted, the thrift haul with my sisters. That was the weekend that I had the procedure. And the reason we did that video is because, it was a method of distraction, and it was to, just keep my mind going on more things than what was, happening in my personal life. So I thank God that they were supposed to come in town that weekend anyway, and that's what we were going to do that weekend anyway. So, they were there for that weekend, and we, I rested for a day or whatever, and then we actually were able to go out, and, I could slowly walk around and do different things to keep my mind initiated in life, and not so focused on death. So I was grateful for them during that time. And then after that, I just felt so healthy, after having spent, almost 16 weeks feeling horrible, to just having, my energy back and everything back like that. Of course, I would have rather, carried the baby, and my due date would have been next month in May, in the middle of May. But, I feel like if I'm going to use what I have. I don't have the baby, but I do have the energy. So I'm going to use what I have, and I'm going to take it, I'm going to make the most of it. And so, that's why I'm making these videos and pushing them out as quickly as possible to inspire you guys, to give you guys, what I have. So I hope that it is doing that. And so that's what happened. And so we'll get into the tips of, how I am going through this, and, some things that may help, someone else to get through this. So first, beforehand, you want to be prayerful, you want to be thankful, you want to have positive thoughts in your mind and in your heart about, about the pregnancy, about life, so that in the event that something, or just so, because it's good, it's a good thing to do, to have positive thoughts, to think positively, to have your mind on good things, because there's so many horror stories out there about, this happened to that one and that happened to that one. And as a pregnant mother, you hear these things and it makes you want to panic, but you want to keep your mind focused and be at peace throughout your pregnancy, and you'll have a better pregnancy. But also, if in the event, God forbid, that something does happen, you'll be able to have that blow cushion. You'll be able to have, even though it's sad, it's a very sad thing, you'll be able to have some rest and something to fall back on when you do fall. If you do fall, you'll have something to fall onto and you won't sink. That was my goal. My personal goal in all this is that I never wanted to sink down so low, because once you sink low, it's hard to get up. And I didn't want to go through all of that. I wanted to grieve. I wanted to go through those stages of grief, but I did not want to go down. I've been down before, and I don't ever want to be there again. And so I wanted to, work through this in a positive way. And so I really want to help you guys work through this in a positive way. So that's beforehand. Be prayerful, have positive thoughts, so that, no matter what happens with your pregnancy, no matter what happens with your baby, no matter what happens with you, no matter what happens in your life, you will be okay because you have that to fall back on. Then, and like I said, I have my notes over here because I don't want to ramble. The first thing is to allow yourself to grieve your way. And, it's hard because, when they tell you something like this, or it happens differently, especially if you have a miscarriage. But for me, I was in the doctor's office and there were other women there who were pregnant. I didn't want to scare them, but I had to let my tears out. And I know that they understood, as women, as mothers, I know that they understood as well. But allow yourself to grieve your way. Some people just need to be quiet. Some people need to holler. Some people, whatever your way of grieving is, allow yourself that. Because like I said, with my tears, I don't like to show those things in public, but it's healthy for me to let it out versus always keeping it inside. So allow yourself to grieve your way. And then, as we talked about what you do beforehand, since you've developed that, you want to find and keep your center, your focus. So when, they told me everything that happened, I, focused on the fact that I knew that I had already, placed the life of this child's hands. Placed the life of this child into God's hands, and told him that I trust him no matter what. And so I had to remind myself of that, get to that place and remind myself of that, and hold on to that as I was going through this very rough process. I just had to hold on to it. And for me, all of my decisions, my peace, everything came from the fact that I realized that my child's soul, was with God, but only his body was left. So, every decision that I made, my peace, what I was able to hold on to was to say that, I will be able to see him one day just not today, And so I just held on to that, and it allowed me to be able to move through the process and be okay. And then thirdly, I began to count my blessings. When I was in the ultrasound room and I was waiting for them to give me the final determination, the man left out, and all I could do was cry, and I just started to sing and worship to God to remind myself of how thankful I am, how grateful I am. I started to think about the fact that I know I was drawing upon stories that I've heard, of people that this has happened to, and for some people that have gone through this several times and they haven't been able to have a child. And I knew that when I left there and went home, I was going to go home to a baby. At the time, my son was a year old. I mean, he's still a year old. And pretty much he had just turned a year old. He's a baby. And I was able to go home to a baby. So even though I lost the baby, I was able to go home to and love and hug, an actual, baby. And so I just was thanking God for that. And, just grateful for that. Grateful for my family. Grateful, for all the good things in my life, so that was definitely helpful, as I was going through this process, because the process, I mean, they really ought to, try to, change it, because it's just a lot of waiting, and your mind is just moving 50 million different places, but focusing on being grateful really helped me during the process. Number 4 is to ask as many questions as you desire. Don't hold back on your questions. If you have a question, ask it, because that is going to help you to make your decisions on what you want to do in this process. You have to live with this. This is something that, depending on the information that you get, is going to allow you to make the right decisions that are going to make you grow, the decisions that are going to help you to heal and to move on. And so you want to get as much information as possible. You want to make sure that you don't feel like any question is too small, too menial, too silly. Certainly, ask as many questions as you desire and as you need to, in order to make the right decisions for you. And number 5 is make the right decisions for you. I talked to my husband, and together we made the decisions that were right for us, not according to what the internet said, although we did do our research, not according to, what our family said, which nobody was really telling us to do anything. But, in different situations, it may be different, but we did what was right for us, so that, like I said, so that we can grow, so that we can heal, and so that we could be able to move on from here in a healthy way. So make the right decisions for you. Then after you've gone through the process, the initial shock, you're home, you're healing, my advice is to rest, but keep your mind occupied. Like I said, while you're going through the process and they have you in these rooms, in these exam rooms, and you have no other recourse but to think about what's going on, it's very hard. So I would encourage you, afterwards to, to find, a way to occupy your mind. And even though you allow yourself the appropriate amount of time to rest, find a way to occupy your mind, to have people around you that are not going to focus on the bad, but they're going to just be normal, you know, to laugh, to joke if that's what you like, you know, or whatever, you know, you need in order to keep your mind occupied and not, you know, so focused on what, you know, what just happened. Then that, you know, that was helpful to me. And then to also afterwards, I felt so physically, I felt the energy that I hadn't had in weeks. I felt you know, like I could move around again. And so I really just threw myself into my videos and to, you know, trying to inspire people with DIY and with thrifting and everything like that, you know, and to think outside the box and to create different things. And so, and my ideas are even really flowing now. And so I'm really excited to do this, you know, and it's really keeping me on a good path, on a good plane, moving forward, healing. And so thank you to you guys who watch my videos, for you guys who encourage me, who comment. I'm so grateful for you guys. So thank you for that. Thank you guys for that as I move forward. And the other thing is to, as you go forward, to be mindful of your state. Like I said, surround yourself with people that you know are going to keep you going the direction you need to go. My family was kind of concerned because I went to church, you know, the next Sunday after everything happened, and so they didn't know how I was going to react, and they especially didn't know how people were going to react to me, because I go to a very close-knit family oriented church. And so they didn't know whether, you know, people were going to say, you know, just say, oh, I'm sorry, and, you know, it was going to maybe bust out, you know, crying. And you know, it was fine. You know, I'm grateful for God's peace. I was really able to just stay in, you know, a peaceful way. And so it didn't bother me at all. But if you know that a social setting like that would be too much for you, I wouldn't do it, you know. If you know certain people, you know, even though well-meaning, might put you in a place that you didn't, you know, mentally, emotionally, that you didn't want to be, I would avoid them. So you have to be mindful of your state and the people that you surround yourself with. You also want to be careful about not getting too tired. I found that once I, you know, I wanted to go so much just to keep my mind activated, but I made sure that when it was time to sleep, I slept. Because if I got overly tired, I found myself getting overly frustrated. And once I got overly frustrated, I got overly angry. And then when I got overly angry, then I got sad and I started to go down. And so in order to stay, you know, moving forward, I just wanted to make sure that I rested. Make sure that you rest appropriately in order to, you know, maintain your emotional and mental health, you know, because your physical health affects your emotional and mental health. So you want to make sure you rest appropriately. And then the other thing is to talk about it as much or as little as you desire. A lot of people say, well, you need to talk about it, you know, and it's like everybody is different. Some people need to talk about it a little bit, only a little bit, or not at all at the beginning, you know, and then more after a while. Some people, you know, need to talk about it a lot, you know, that's how they move through. For me, making this video is part of my therapy. So I thank you guys for being part of my therapy. And also, you know, I want it to be, you know, an inspiration to other people, to let other people know you're not the only one. So, you know, you can talk about it as much or as little as you desire, and, you know who you want to talk to it about. You know, just because a person wants to talk to you about it doesn't necessarily mean you want to talk to that person about it. So talk to who you want to about it as much or as little as you desire. we have each other. And that's my last comment, is that we have community. After this happened, so many people reached out to me and told me, you know, their stories of different things that had happened. And this actually helped me while I was going through it, that I remembered all the people that I knew that this had happened to. And it encouraged me to let me know that I wasn't alone. I wasn't by myself. You know, I was one in a number of a lot of people. And then I even started to think about the people who, you know, are going through, the people that I know who are going through much worse, you know, worse things. And they are the people that I know, they are so victorious and they're so strong. And it's not that they don't struggle. You know, I watch them and I see them struggle, but they keep themselves encouraged. They keep themselves, you know, uplifted. They keep that focus. They remain thankful. They keep, you know, they think about the things that they're thankful for. So it made me, you know, just want to, like, okay, you know, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. So, so that last thing is community. So I'm so grateful to have YouTube as an outlet, to reach out to you and to have you guys as a source of an encouragement for me. So the last thing I want to say is, if you have gone through this, you know, let me know in the comments. We can be a source of encouragement to one another, and also to those who are watching this video that, you know, don't necessarily are not at the place where they can comment, you know, about this yet. So I thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.